This is the second part of the video for the adjusting arm, the third drawing, or the first drawing using our compass. For this, you're obviously going to need the compass. You should have your drawing up to this point, and then we need to work on drawing some arcs and circles. So first thing we need to worry about is you're going to see R, you're going to see DIA, and then on newer drawings you're going to see a circle with a line through it. R means radius, DIA means diameter, and the circle with a line through it also means diameter. The reason that's important is when I draw with my compass, I need to have the size in radius. If I have it in diameter, I'm going to need to divide it by 2. The reason being, if this is a 1.5 diameter circle, if I have my compass set up for 1.5, I do 1.5 on one side, and then when I spin it around, I've got 1.5 on the other side, giving me a 3-inch circle. So if it's the radius, just keep going, set it up for that size. If it's the diameter, make sure you divide that by 2 to set it up for the proper size. Okay? Once again, I need to be as accurate as possible in this drawing so that I have all my connecting straight lines as close to straight lines as I can make them. So, the first thing, I need to be able to set this up to the right size. Some of you guys are just going to take this, put it into the architect scale, set it up based on that and say that's good. Okay, that's not a terrible way to do it, except for the fact that you kind of jam up my scale a little bit, and it's also not the most accurate. So the way that we want to do this is actually to get a scrap piece of paper. So my first size that I'm going to do is 1 1/4 here. So I'm going to flip this over for my scrap piece. All you do is you take a straight edge, draw a line. On that line now, I'm very carefully and accurately going to mark off 1 1/4. I can now take my compass, line it right up on the very start of that line, set it up for 1 1/4, try and get it to go directly through the mark you made so it's as accurate as possible. Now that I've got that, this first arc needs to cross that vertical line. So center point here, when I draw it, I need to cross it a little bit, swing it around, and cross it a little bit at the top. So if you haven't used one before, you might want to practice a little bit, or if it's been since math class, you might want to practice a little bit more. My center point's right here. So I'm going to take this compass, find the exact center point here, and very carefully I'm going to roll this between my thumb and index finger, lean it forward a little bit, swing that arc right through. The next thing I'm going to do before I get too far ahead of myself is take a look at my drawing. If I look at my drawing, I've got another 1 1/4 radius. So I'm going to do that at the same time so I don't have to reset my compass. That one goes at the back here. And once again, it crosses the vertical line and crosses the vertical line. Okay? If you need to go over it, make sure that it's directly on top of it. So there's the first 2 arcs. My next arcs are going to be up here and down here. They are a 1-inch radius, so same thing. Just use the same line. There's my 1 inch. These arcs, same idea, except instead of crossing from vertical to vertical, this is going to cross from vertical to the horizontal. Down below, exact same thing. So there's those 2 arcs. My slot in the middle here, this is a 1. I know it's tough to see sometimes. So if it's 1 inch from edge to edge, that means for the circle it's also 1 inch from the edge to the edge, which would be the diameter. So I need to have a 1/2 inch set up for this slot. So same idea once again. Half inch. Line it up on the center line, or the center point. This one once again goes from vertical to vertical. The other side, just a mirrored version. the last thing I got now is I've got a circle in the middle, or at the tail end here. It's a 1.5 diameter, so I need to divide that by 2, which gives me 3/4. Set my compass once again for 3/4. And then hopefully swing this right through in one nice swoop. So there's all the arcs and the circles that I need. Now, the next step is I'm going to erase this center X just so I don't have to worry about erasing it once I get that slot drawn in or filled in. And now at this point, if you're following along in the book, it tells me to draw a connecting straight line from here to this arc, this top arc to this top arc, same down at the bottom, same down at the bottom. When you do this straight line, it should be from where the arc and the vertical center line meet to where the arc and the vertical center line meet. Same here, same here, same down here, same down here, same down here, same down here. Now, hopefully you took your time and laid everything out accurately, and you can just come in here and just put this in as a nice light construction line. Once again, make sure you start and stop at the lines that you need to. If you were a little off, maybe one of them shifted up or down, if it's really bad, you should probably start over. If it's not that bad and your parallel straight edge is a little off of it, you could try and work the pencil where maybe you go from leaning out to leaning in a little bit more. An easier solution for you guys is probably just to take your triangle, one of your straight edges, just line it up where it would need to be. Take the time to make sure it's where it should be, and then I can just draw it from one to the other that way. I'm going to stick with my parallel straight edge because these ones seem to be pretty good. Down at the bottom, pretty good. And then at that point, all the hard work is done. All I need to do is, once again, clean up the areas I'm not going to need. I'm going to heavy in my vertical center lines first, then my horizontal lines, then I'm going to heavy in my arcs and circles, and then I'm going to heavy in my connecting straight lines. So the next video, I'll have most of it heavied in. I'll show you heavying in a couple arcs, and then we'll go over center lines.